The pre-Socratic Greek philosopher Parmenides taught that the only things that are real are things which never change, and the pre-Socratic Greek philosopher Heraclitus taught that everything changes. If you superimpose their two views, you get this result. Nothing is real. Philip K. Dick. Hello everybody. Yeah, it's been a long while. I know. Been sick and it's been busy. Now, if you were watching this on YouTube took it down. They suspended the live stream. I don't know at this point whether the stream is going to come back up or not, but I'm just going to keep it around just so that you know that it was taken down by YouTube. And that's going to be a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem, and it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. So if you really want to watch any of my shows, and a lot of the things that I've done is not show a lot of these things, because I know the more I show, the more YouTube's going to go ahead and find some reason to suspend me or block me, even though I'm following all the guidelines as far as what fair use is, which is this. Showed you some examples of what NPCs are and how to understand, how to figure out who NPCs are, and ultimately what they are, and just depictions of NPCs within movies. Now I could do that with books, I could do that with video games, etc. And those would probably pass by no problem. It's just the movies, yeah. So yeah, if you want to watch any of my stuff, get off YouTube. I know that's where a majority of people watch still. I think it's gonna end up being extinct pretty soon. YouTube is. And there's just going to be a lot more outlets out there, a lot more platforms where people can live stream and upload something. So if you actually want to watch my live streams unimpeded, go to DLive. It's in the description box on all my YouTube videos. It's there on Steemit and Vim.tv. And also you can find the link to LBRY, or library. But it's spelled LBRY, and a lot of my content is not going to be censored there. It's going to be censored in YouTube. It's going to be censored in Periscope, which is owned by Twitter. It's going to be censored in pretty much any mainstream platform where it's owned by the corporations. Okay, so I'm going to go on to my usual bit here. You can go ahead and find all the links in the link area in the description box on YouTube. You can find just a lot more stuff there. You can always join in any of these live streams that I have. The Zoom meeting is always going to be in the description box. If it's not there, like if you're on DLive right now and you're watching and you don't find a way to join, just chat on DLive, and I'll just go ahead and copy paste that until DLive actually has something of a description box. Right now we can't do anything about it. If you wish to donate, you may. All my content is always free. You're never gonna have to pay some monthly thing, or there's never gonna be like exclusive content for paying members, etc. Of course, you're gonna find uncensored, unimpeded material on other platforms than YouTube. Basically, what YouTube forces content creators to do is self-censor. That way, some material can get out to people, but ultimately, the entire message is going to be watered down so that it can actually be seen on YouTube. So, if you want to donate via Bitcoin or Vertcoin, you can. So far, there's been $0 of donations via cryptocurrency. You can always check through the blockchain. The two transactions I have are coming from my Patreon account that I closed a long time ago, and I gave it to Susie Dawson when she needed it, and there's a video on that which you can find. And on Vertcoin so far there's been no transactions, so that's it. You can kind of well, if my live streams aren't going, well, you can't donate via Google Super Chat, but you can always donate to me via paypal.me, which I set up back in September 22nd, 2019, and I will disclose on the first video of the month how much I made for the previous month, along with the entirety since I've had paypal.me. And I'll of course also show all my Google Super Chat donations and just do a thank you on the first video of the month. All right, so that is that. Oh, actually, two more things. If you don't have any money to donate, please prove the globe Earth and get $15,000 from Zen Garcia, which I did interview before. Good person. And just donate to me if 10% finder's fee, not even 15%, 10%. I mean, it should be pretty easy to prove the globe Earth. Just take Zen Garcia to court if he does not say that you didn't prove the globe to him, and get that money from him. You know, just donate a little bit to me. Also, join the Flat Earth People Finder at zoomtruth.com. Get involved, and you can just sign up, log in. I'm starting to get set up. I got the code. I just probably need the database set up, and I'll probably be working on it and expanding, fixing a couple of things, expanding just how to get people involved in working on putting content up there for others. I mean, look, if there's not going to be places where we can actually work together, we're going to have to create it ourselves, right? Okay, so that's what it is. Now let's get to the topic at hand. Now, if you watched my video, you know, of course you're going to have to rewatch it again because you're not going to be able to find it. All right, it says YouTube just sent me an email. My content violated the YouTube's community guidelines and has been removed. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our spam, deceptive practices, and scams policy. That's a very NPC thing to do. Anyways, I am probably just gonna upload it afterwards, and we're probably gonna say and then we'll see. But again, what I'll probably end up doing is, if they block my upload, I'll probably upload everything but the movie compilation that I showed, which is almost 15 minutes, and you're just gonna have to watch that somewhere else. It's just a compilation from different movies, from Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, from Vanilla Sky, from Blade Runner, and The Matrix. So that's it. There's more I was going to add to it, but then it was just going to last too long. So I was just going, you know what? If I want to expand it in the future, that's fine. I'll do that. What's interesting is that the writer, I mean, the first video games, and particularly ones with NPCs, non-player characters, were created in 1982, 1983. Okay, so first RPG game. If you Google it, you'll see Dragon Stomper was the earliest RPG on a console, on Atari 2600, 1982, then on a computer. In 1983, it was Bokusuka Wars. Never played any of those. But anyways, they're 1982. That's when Blade Runner was made. Okay, Blade Runner was filmed, or at least released. They were filming earlier than 1982. Okay, Blade Runner was probably took a couple years to film, but it was released in 1982, about the same time as RPG. So unless you actually read Philip K. Dick's books, and one of them being the do androids dream of electric sheep, you're going to find that Philip K. Dick wrote that prior to 1968, but published it in 1968. So almost 14 years before the concept of NPCs came about. He was pretty much writing about artificial intelligence, replicants, very similar to the concept of what an NPC is. And so the idea of the NPC has been around for a good amount of time, before even video games, just so people are more familiar with NPCs from video games. They've probably even been around a lot longer, I would say. I would hazard a guess to that. But Philip K. Dick kind of brought it around to us in a more literary way with his books. Now, what's great about Philip K. Dick is when you start looking into his quotes. Now I'm going to go into some of his quotes, because the quote of the day was from Philip K. Dick. And first off, from that video, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle pretty much points out what NPCs are, non-playable characters. They stem from video games, but you know, I'm stepping back a little bit, telling you guys what NPCs are kind of before. It's very similar. Imagine we are living in a video game. Well, we've got NPC characters, we got player characters. Player characters are being controlled by something and can interact and change things. Now, an NPC cannot change things. An NPC is only there to help the player characters along to get to where they need to go and do the things that they need to do. And probably the most interesting thing that we're thinking about and debating about right now is, well, who's controlling the AI? Who wrote the AI? Who's writing the script? And all of this stuff. And you know, you could allude to Maya, the illusion of the world, you know, demiurge, whatever, you know, whatever it is that you want to go ahead and tie it to that idea. Yeah, you can go ahead and do that. But now, I think a lot of people ask, well, are my family members NPCs? Because basically the people who are awakening are wondering, hey, they're seeing the signs, they're getting it, just like when you watch the same movies as I did, and you just see the typical reaction is like, huh, that's just weird. And we're comparing notes to other people who are waking up, and we're all realizing the same thing. But you know what? We weren't always awake. We were also NPCs. We were non-player characters. And the way that I put it is, we're just automated. We've automated ourselves. It's like when you're playing a video game, an RPG, something where you just have to really spend a lot of time at it to get material and stuff like that, so you could do the things that you want. Just like working a job, right? 9 to 5, day to day, year after year. So what you end up doing is you create a macro. A macro is basically a script that you assign to your keyboard, a key, and you give it directions of what it needs to do. That way you've got it. By the time you give them back, say you're gone for 4 hours, or maybe you're gone for 8 hours, and you need to mine some type of ore in some game. Well, you're going to go ahead and create a macro that does all the things that you would normally do in a game. And you would make sure that by the time you come back, well, you played the game for 8 hours, but you weren't really playing the game. Do you get it? Basically, you were farming. That's just a term used in gaming. You're gathering material while you weren't able to play, so that when you are actually able to play, you've got everything that you've needed to go on to do the next thing, whatever it is that you want to do or maybe need to do. So thinking of it that way, everyone is an NPC, especially if you put yourself on macro, if you're automating yourself to just go along with the flow of the things that are done in that game. But everyone has the capability to get off autopilot, or to stop playing, quit that macro and actually start playing the game themselves. And so that's basically what NPCs are, just automated versions of player characters. And that doesn't mean that it's whoever it is some empty vessel. Now, there could be sometimes, like in the Matrix, where someone never is prepared to wake up. No one does wake up, and in your time, in your present, unfortunately, it's too bad. But that doesn't mean that person, entity, being isn't gonna ever wake up, and that's kind of the purpose here. I would think. I don't know for sure. This is just another guess that I have a hunch of, right? This is just kind of a nursery. Think of it as a nursery of souls. Putting it very loosely, the term souls. Think of it as, well, when you grew up as a baby, you become an adult, a man or a woman, and if we are created by something else, just like babies are created by us, humans are created by something higher, then, well, once we become an adult, we should be becoming what created us, right? Just when one creates something, it's usually creating something and passing on what they are, because ultimately you can't pass on something what you don't know. You can only pass on what you know. So whatever it is that you create is always going to be instilled by who you are, not who you are not, and what you know and not what you don't know. So just put that in context. Now, how do you know someone is an NPC or certain entities and things are? So I think it was 2 nights ago, and I can do live streams, so I was just watching live streams in certain videos, but this one was a live stream and I was interacting. Person, I won't say names, but I was kind of trolling a little bit, and because I knew this topic, the flat earth, the globe earth, was gonna really piss him off, or get him triggered, let's say. And so all I asked is just one simple question, because that's all it takes. And same thing whenever you talk to anyone else, globers, people who spend day after day just going on globe earth and flat earth channels, and like, I don't know how they survive. They must make enough money somehow to keep going. And well, so I ask, because he's very much a globe believer, and he's saying, I'm a flat earth believer. It's like, look, I don't believe in anything. So I ask just one straightforward question: is at what altitude do you start seeing earth curvature? Didn't give me an answer, and that's the typical response. Just like if you watch Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, if you watch any of the movies that I showed earlier, Vanilla Sky, when he asked Tom Cruise's character asked McCabe, or no, actually the tech support asked McCabe, what's your children's names, and he goes, I'm real. He doesn't have an answer, right? Same thing when they're doing the void comp test in Blade Runner, just asking the replicants a couple of questions, seeing if there's a reaction. It's trying to trigger a response. Matrix is the Matrix is very much the same way, and they're just gonna fight for the system because that's what they're set up to do. It's the script. Sometimes you created the script until you're ready to play, until you're ready to wake up and go, whoa, I accumulated all this stuff. All right, now what do I do? Okay, I'll do this. All right. So when the thing is, you can't create something new when you're following a script because you've created all of that stuff beforehand. Therefore, you're not going to create anything when you're in that script because you're just following the script. Now, when you're not following the script, you're able to create stuff. So in some ways, the quote that I used for today with Philip K. Dick, when he talks about the pre-Socratic Greek philosophers, Parmenides, where he taught that real things never change. And then you got the Greek philosopher Heraclitus, which I covered before, where everything changes. And that's the thing. That's the catch. And he thinks that nothing is real. But then, in that same idea is everything is real. I like to use the same analogy as video games. Video games are an interesting concept because, what we do is we play video games. They're in this virtual world. Now, what's great about video games is that we can interact with actual other players. So if I am playing a video game with my brother or with one of my friends and we're playing against each other or cooperating together to play together, or we're just doing our own thing in a vast multiplayer online game, is we're playing in a virtual world. A world we say is not real. It doesn't exist. It's just virtual. But once the game is over, whatever we're doing, we step back and we get together and talk on the phone, talk on video, get together on a vacation, have dinner, whatever, and we talk about the game. We're talking about actual experiences that we experienced during the game and interactions between us that we remember from it, and that experience is real. Where we experienced that was not real. Basically, what we experienced occurred in a realm that was not real, yet the experience was still there. So does that mean that world never existed? It existed. It's not real as in the sense that the reality from where we were playing from, yet the experience is still there. So therefore that experience is real. The world that we played in and both experienced from our standpoint was real, even though it was virtual. So it's one of those things that people just don't get the concept of. Maybe NPCs don't get the concept of. They got to wake up first and play the game, and then they could set their macro to something else. So the idea of virtual, non-real, it really doesn't matter. All that matters really is the experience and that what you take away from it, and those that will share that experience at another time, I guess. It's also something that shapes us, that we can grasp and say, hey, I can relate my experience from the game to what I can do in real life. And that is also seen in Jumanji, the Welcome to the Jungle. That's experienced in, well, you don't get to see that experience unfold in Vanilla Sky. You get to see how that how for example, Plain Truth was saying either Deckard was a skin job, or because there's a lot of people saying Deckard was a replicant. Some saying it was left up to debate. Some saying he was human. But it's a fun concept, and I think that's the point. In some ways, is that if you can't think of the hypothetical of whether he was or not, you're probably an NPC. So, at that point, and as far as that movie and the line goes, it's very similar to how you would experience and kind of understand NPCs. Now, there are many NPCs or that write their own scripts to go on macro, and they don't have any empathy at all. Now, there are some that do, because there are certain things that they macroed in the script they don't want to do, and there's reason for that. And so when the NPC is confronted as for the reasoning of those things, there's a level of empathy that the NPC understands that the script is written for that NPC, and that's when the NPC will probably wake up, kind of understand a couple of things, and at that point, it's not an NPC anymore, because it understands empathy, it understands what was done to themselves, understands what they do. They don't want to push that on to others, whether it's an NPC or not, and that's the entire point. You can even see that in a lot of Gnostic type of movies and shows like Westworld and things like that, especially when it delves into AI. So anyways, this person with the NPC response when I asked the question, at what altitude do you start seeing earth curvature? He goes, it's you of course, ad hominem attack, and then you should, if you want the answer, it's there, it's been there. I mean, you should have studied physics and history. It's like, yeah, like I didn't study physics or history. Again, another ad hominem attack, assuming that I don't know anything. And here's the thing, is I'll challenge the NPCs to, okay, let's talk about it. Let's see who knows more. I'll bet you I know more than you do. And now, who's going to tell who to study the history books in physics again? Or math or anything else like that. So I simple question, just one simple answer. I mean, it should be known. It should be very easily known. I mean, we all grew up taught that the Earth was a globe, and that's proof. And here's the thing. Here's the thing about science, and I wish this was live. Science does not provide proof. Just because a scientific experiment occurred and others were able to replicate it doesn't mean that it's proof. That's not what science is. Science doesn't provide proof. What science provides is something that occurs without change until it doesn't. Basically, what science is continue testing until there's a different result, until the experiment is proven false, that the experiment can no longer be replicated 100%. That's what it is. It never provides proof. Scientific experiments that were conducted, say, 20th century, that they don't replicate now. Did those scientific experiments, when everyone regarded them as being true, they're saying, hey, this is proof, until it didn't happen anymore. The scientific results of those experiments became different, therefore it was never proven. It's never proof. All it is having those run those same experiments, see if they get the same results, or look at it and say, hey, there's something wrong with the experiment itself. But all it is showing you what the results are. And until those results become different, well, it's an assumption that that's how things work, and how things always work, but it's not proof of how things work and how they always work. It's until something comes up and says, hey, there's a different result, and hey, we do this type of experiment, now we got a reason as far as why sometimes it gets this different result. So it's never proof of anything. Science is about disproving what is. Because once we think we got it all, and then we get a different result, it's like, oh, we don't throw it all away. No, we just go, okay, let's look into that. Let's figure that out, and see if we could keep repeating it and get the same result all the time. So when people say science is proof, no, you are wrong. You're wrong, shipmate. You are wrong. Science is about disproving it so we can figure things out a little bit better next time around. And everyone who thinks that science is proof, well, all I have to do is show you scientific experiments everyone replicated in the past. They got the same result, and they go, hey, this is proof that this is this. Until, well, those scientific experiments are now outdated and we get different results, and therefore, yeah, that wasn't proof. No. This is proof now. Here are the scientific experiments that are proof of this. You're making the same mistake again. I'm sorry. So, again, the person, going back to the story, couldn't give me a response, couldn't give me an answer, even though it should be such a simple answer that all I need to do is restudy my physics books and my history books. So it's like the government should know. We pay billions of dollars to NASA. It should be on a nasa.gov site, right? The simple answer to questions such as when can we start seeing the curvature of the Earth? And we don't get an answer, not a direct answer. We don't get that specific answer at all. If you look, and I have looked on the nasa.gov site, there's a scientific research plane a pilot flew, and that pilot said at 60,000 feet in altitude he could see the Earth's curvature. But what's funny about that is you got Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now Neil deGrasse Tyson is an astrophysicist, and he got the NASA's most prestigious civilian honor and award. And that award, and now if you search just a lot of things with NASA, so basically he was awarded the NASA Distinguished Public Service Medal in the same year, and he served on a 2001 government commission on the future of the U.S. aerospace industry. So he works a lot with he gets money from NASA as well to support Tyson's doctoral research from NASA and the ARCS Foundation. So people, when I say, hey, Neil deGrasse Tyson said this, and they go, well, I would rather believe a pilot who says they saw the curvature of the Earth than I would believe an astrophysicist. It's just a physicist. He hasn't seen it for himself. This person's doing research, is being a spokesperson for, and works with the government in all things with astrophysics. He's an astrophysicist, and he's probably the successor. Many regard him as a successor to Carl Sagan, who's also an astrophysicist. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson, many videos of it says, just like when he was talking about, there's another video on it, when someone was jumping off at a height of 124,000 feet, which is more than twice the height of 60,000 feet. Neil deGrasse Tyson says you can't see the curvature of the Earth from that height. You just can't. It's flat. Now we got a contradiction. Well, on NASA.gov site, a pilot that was flying a research vehicle was saying he saw the curvature of the Earth at 60,000 feet. Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson says you can't see it at 124,000 feet. And he's an astrophysicist who works with NASA, works for the government with all things regarding space and stuff like that. He's got NASA's most prestigious award for civilians. So which is it? When do we start seeing the curvature of the Earth? Is it, and people who can't do math or understand logic, and that might be a thing with the NPCs, you would think that they would understand. And what's funny is, rather than getting an answer, when do we start seeing the curvature of the Earth, at what altitude, he provided me a link, and it was linked to a Quora answer. Basically, that Quora answer could have been from anyone. It could have been from a 5-year-old who could figure out how to use the internet. It could have been from this janitor, not that I care, a janitor who failed math that was writing an answer in Quora. You know, obviously, basically anybody can answer a question on Quora. It's just saying, here's the answer. It's like, well, you know, that answer is from anybody. Can you just tell me at what altitude? This is a simple question. It should be a certain height, right? So, is it sea level? Do we see the curvature of the Earth from sea level? Do we see it at airplane's height? You know, 20,000 feet in the air. Is it higher than that? 60,000, 124,000? When do we start seeing the curvature of the Earth? That should have been pretty much easily documented and shown to people, right? Well, we don't get that answer. We don't get that answer from the government. We don't get that answer from Neil deGrasse Tyson. We don't get that answer from pilots, people who fly day in, day out. It's like you ask them, hey, at what altitude do you see the curvature of the Earth? Let's see what their answer they give. We ask another pilot, hey, you're a pilot. At what altitude do you start seeing the curvature of the Earth? Is their answer going to be the same? Should there be a textbook? Is it just going to be, oh, you know, it's relative? Right? So no one's going to answer that question when you ask, because they're NPCs. They're on the script. They're on the macro until somehow they awaken themselves, just like you woke up, just like I woke up, just like everybody woke up. We gave the same answer because we were just on that same script. We were on that same macro. We didn't care about change. We wanted to exist within the system that was provided, and the best way to do that was to understand how the system works and play the game. And to play the game, you understand what needs to be done, you create a macro, you're done. And you wake up same time, go to sleep the same time, you watch the same shows, same sports, you do the same thing, get the same ideas, you know, nothing new, nothing changed. You don't change. That's the thing. So you expect everything else to change, but you. It's like, whoa, isn't that quite the hubris, I guess. You expect everyone else to change but you. Because you, however important you are, you think you are, you've got the answer. You know, at the end, you know, all it is about you changing yourself. And once you change yourself, that's when you awaken. And then when you realize that, I woke up, I changed myself, and other people aren't doing that. Why aren't they doing that? The whole NPC thing comes up. Okay. Now, wasn't I an NPC? You know, Ebon Kim, you know, before 2016, I'd say if I look back and I saw a picture or a video of Ebon Kim before 2016, it's like, that was NPC Ebon, but that was me. I mean, I'm me. So, I mean, I'm not an NPC now, so I can't say I'm an NPC way back then. But no, I was going through the script. I was going through the program. I was playing it by how the game was. And something in me got triggered, awakened, and was like, okay, I get it. I see it. Yeah, I was me, but it wasn't me now. The same person, but I'm more at the controls now. And I am more hesitant to react, to do certain things, to say certain things, to do certain things to certain people, and focus on certain things over things which I would probably have not even, given a second thought before, right? So all of that stuff is there, and it's like, okay, so different things are now than they were back then. And now we're getting to the point of, well, we're understanding this world around us a little bit better, right? It's unchanging. The people involved, the government systems set up, they don't change. There are those within it that do change and can change things around them. Just like I can probably change a lot of things out there because I changed. I understand. I can basically probably, that's kind of the whole idea of cult mentality, right? And hypnotism and brainwashing. You can that's the whole purpose of the mystery schools. You can wake people up from their slumber somewhere else and have them slumber at your place, at your house, at your covenant, or whatever you want to call it. You become that shepherd. Now, here's the thing. Do you want to do that and perpetuate the same thing as others? Or do you just want to go ahead and wake everyone up? That's what we're doing, right? Some of us just wake everybody up. Others, wake them up from someone else. Put them in your little covenant, whatever. Become the cult leader. They're still brainwashed. They're NPCs. They're following the same script. You're just following your script because you understand that that's what you can do. And that's where we get into a lot of bad stuff. That's another thing. It's almost like a warning call to those who are doing that. It's like, you don't really know the repercussions of what you're doing, and you should. If you don't, you really, really should. And it's not like I guess I do care, because if you don't know, well, you should know. And if you do know and you're doing it anyway, that's where I'm like, all right. That's where I'm just, I guess I'm just waiting. It's like, you're going to find out eventually. You're going to reap what you sow, and ouch. If I'm there to witness it, I would just say I'm just going to leave it at the hands of those that you used, and they'll be the ones that'll save you, and most likely they're not gonna wanna. I don't wanna. So that's kind of it. I know things are a little bit weird. It sounds weird coming out of my mouth. It's gonna be doubly weird for the NPCs. The NPCs are gonna be angry. It's just one of the natural triggers. But you have to be patient. Some of them are never going to wake up from their slumber. Some of them you can actually wake them up, and you can control them in some way. You can rewrite their script. The hardest thing to do, and probably the best thing to do, is to wake them up and have them write their own script if they want to, but not follow anyone's, not someone else's, not yours, but their own. And that's the long game. That's the first in, last out. And man, that's just patience. That's I don't know how it's been going on for so long, but it's been going on for quite a while. At least it feels like a long time. Okay. that's it for this stream. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here, upload it, and if I have to edit it out, tell you to watch the whole thing on some other platform and then re-upload it. So it's gonna be a little bit of extra work. But I hope you liked it. I hope you kind of understand what NPCs are, how you can find out who they are. First, find out who you are. It's the point of NPC, finding out another NPC. It's just, woo! Okay. Anyways, I'll probably see you guys another time, alright? Later.